Hello everyone, Laura Armour here. I'm going to do a walkthrough feedback on the good example, as we're calling it, in the Hive Mind site. So I'm just going to take you through this and just sort of talk over what I'm looking at and provide some feedback. So I'm going to turn my camera off just to have more space to show here. So this is again in the Hive Mind site, the good example of a Laulima lesson. It was created using the Laulima template and replaced with content. And so the first, thing I see, the introduction, is a photo of Vanessa. So that is an excellent technique in an online course, especially asynchronous courses, to have yourself visible in some way, just to make that connection as a human. And this has a little preview about what's going to come for this week and offering to answer questions. And so it's a sort of upbeat introduction, so all looks good. And then there is a screencast recording, which you will also need to include in your lesson. So this is you can see the video capture of the camera of Vanessa talking in the right hand corner, which you can do, or you can turn off. So it has closed captions, which we mentioned that it must have for accessibility. In YouTube, it's pretty easy to get those auto-generated automatically. They do it automatically, but then you have to usually go in and do some little minor tweaks to correct spelling, punctuation, things like that. So this is a very nice overview of the lesson. It's 9 minutes long. That's a little on the long side maybe, but I would not go over 10 minutes for any videos if possible. So I know that's hard to do when there's so many things you want to share and cover, especially this, I believe, was designed for like a first week of a course. So there's sometimes extra things to talk about in relation to not just the lesson, but the whole course. So this is all looking good. The learning objectives are clearly identified here. Again, this is part of the template. And they all start with an action verb that are all verbs from Bloom's taxonomy. You can learn more about that in some of the resources we have, but this is what I'm expecting, some clear learning objectives for the week's lesson. And this is our checklist. It comes as part of the template, so you can rename this. Some faculty like to just make it a to-do list for the week. Some have what is due, D-U-E, due this week, or to do this week. I've seen a lot of different ways. You can do it however you would like. So this looks very clear. These are things to do. So she has reviewed the videos and web pages. So she doesn't list every single thing to read or every single thing to watch or look at. It's just a generic, this is the resources. And this is indicates the assignments, looks like. And then this is not required on your criteria for certification, but it is very good practice for each thing that you do this week to reference which LOs it's covering, because you want to make sure you're covering all of them, right? So some activities only cover one, maybe some cover a couple, some could cover all, especially like a quiz. Usually we'll touch on all the different aspects of the week's content. So that's a good practice to include. So that's great for that. This is something that was added. So remember, the template is the starting point, and you can add things. I see that Vanessa embedded a Padlet, so that's not part of the template. So you can go beyond. And so this is using the Laulima question tool. So this is really, really good technique also. Before starting, what do you know about the subject? So pedagogically, that's a really good strategy to activate their prior learning and kind of get them ready for the lesson. And I really like this prompt with imagine you are in your office. So again, anytime you can create a mini mini scenario like this, um, and make it sort of a real world type of question. That's really good. And so these are, again, the question tool. After the student answers, they can see a poll. It's like an anonymous poll to see how many people chose B or how many people chose C. It's really a neat little technique to intersperse here and there. This section of the template is the learning materials and activities. Vanessa has broken these into different types. So this is watch videos and websites, and this is read guidelines. And so you can split it up that way. You can organize it differently. The main takeaway here, I would say, is to use this type of link, which is in the Laulima. The plus sign is kind of cut off my screen capture screen, but it's right here. So if you're going to add something, you would click the plus sign and it would see it. You would choose Add Content Link. That makes it look nice with some white space in between links. It also allows for a little tag to go with it, so you can put some context around it. This is more of a citation of this. You can do that, or you can do, while you're reading this article, you can give them some, guiding questions or guiding things for them to be looking out for. So again, this was created from Add Content Links. So this all looks very nice, and yeah. So this also is utilizing, these links are accessible friendly because they are the title. This is the good practice of adding links, to add the title and not the bare URL. Although it is here, it is here on the citations because that's citation required. But for a screen reader, these are very cumbersome. This is not too bad because it's not very long, but sometimes it's like with the Google Doc, those URLs are extremely long, and you definitely do not want to put those raw links out where they can be seen, because if someone needs a screen reader assistance, it's really very cumbersome. Okay, so, and then the template, the next part is the assignments. So kind of gather those together. So there's a literature review Padlet assignment, and this is a content link that links out to another window. Probably don't actually need this, because when you embed a Padlet with the embed code, it also gives you this little option Laulima does to open it if someone wants to just open it out in a new window. So it's pretty cool to be able to embed a Padlet, because you can see the live editions every day. When you go in, you can see it'll change. So it's sort of dynamic content, which is nice. She also added a flip assignment, which is a video for the presentations, I believe, yeah. So again, you can embed this right in here. And once a student has logged in with their Google, then when they come back to this lesson, you can actually see the flip videos. It's not the login page anymore. I just haven't logged in. And then she's got this as related to one of her assignments. And so what I would say about this, I would suggest maybe instead of this is an image. You can see this is an image that is in this text box. And the problem with that, again, is for accessibility. You would have to provide a text equivalent, because a screen reader isn't going to be able to read this. And so I'm going to click on the edit. And also, every image should have a alternative text or descriptive text for a screen reader. And this is basically a .png file, and Laulima will put that sometimes as a default alt text, but that's not a good alt text. It does not say what this is. So I would probably suggest redoing this section with either linking out to the case somewhere, or just retyping it and then putting a citation, something like that. This is a link to the forum tool. So again, I noticed the question here: have you had any experiences with excuse me, patients with cardiac conditions. I might want to suggest maybe adding a bit more to this, kind of tying it to some of the content and a little bit more prompting than this. But I do like that this is asking for experiences because um, it's really good strategy in a discussion to bring personal experience with a certain type of content that you're introducing this week, so that everybody can share, everybody can see what else everybody else has had experience with it. It's a very good technique. Quiz is pretty straightforward. Um, Again, I think your criteria just says 3 questions, and this is good that there's this information here to tell the students approximate time and what it's consistent of. That's nice to know that in advance. And so this is a link. So you'll notice that the forum, which actually now is in the new version of Laulima, is called discussion. So it's confusing because there was another tool called discussion and private messages, but we'll try to just transition into the new terminology. But these are all right here in this lesson page where the student is working their way through the checklist, working their way through the lesson. They don't have to actually use the go out to the menu like the student. I'm scrolling back up quickly, but the menu, these are the tools here for you to use so you can create a test or quiz, create an assignment, create a discussion, which used to be forums, so I put it in parentheses. So when you're building your lesson, you will use these tools to create your discussion, to create your assignment, to create your quiz. You'll use these tools, but the students don't need to go separately and jump out of the lesson. It's all kept together for the student, and all you have to do is link to it. We have tutorial videos and links to helpers and helper documents for how to do all these things in the criteria list. So very good job. I just wanted to run through it. If you want to see the blueprint that kind of matches this, it's linked here. And then if you want to work on your design similarly before you start working in Laulima, which I advise, you can take and link one of these. If you like working with spreadsheets, or if you like working with Google Docs, or you can look at both and make your decision. But as soon as you click on it, you'll be prompted to make your own private version. No one will see it. But if you want to share your blueprint with me, just to kind of see if I see any suggestions I could make before you start building, I'm happy to do that. So thank you, Vanessa. And if you have any questions, just reach out.